This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, all right, chapter 30, reading verse 25. And it says, a cheerful and good heart will have care of his meat and diet. I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. Shalom to you brothers out there that are laboring and during the elements, making your body a living sacrifice, trying to sow the elect, making your carnal election sure, seeking out your own salvation, as well as you sisters that are learning, listening, applying, being obedient to your husbands. Shalom, shalom. Once again, it's the brother Zachariah coming back to you with another lesson. All right, here on this Monday afternoon, and Lord willing, this be edifying. It's a very cold one out here too. You know, yesterday I think the high was like 74, and today we're down to like 24. So it's like a 50-degree decline, man, you know. So it's a cold one, and there's some flurries kind of outside, you know, nothing serious, but you can see a few little like snowflakes and stuff and just flurries moving about. It's pretty cold outside. You know, I'm actually here on the porch part of where I live at, you know, my dwelling place, and you know, where our mailboxes are for the apartments, and you know, just to try to stay in, try to keep warm a little bit. You know, but one of the things about this truth, man, is that, you know, we just endure the elements. OK, so, you know, hey, in this truth, this work, you know, which this is a work. All right. This is a job. All right. And it doesn't stop. All right. You know, so we got to keep pushing. So let me read this again. The book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 25. And it says, a cheerful and good heart will have care of his meat and diet. OK. Now, we know, according to prophecy, is that the children of Israel, all right, consisting predominantly of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans of indigenous descent, going back to our fathers, all right, which goes back to our forefather Jacob, who is the progenitor of the Israelites, okay? The scripture says that we would eat defiled food among the nations wherever Yahweh Shem Yahushua has driven us to, okay? And we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, which also I must bring this up. You know, with that being said, we could very well look like some of those other nations. OK, I've seen it. Even when it comes to my family, I mean, I got kinfolk, man, you'll see them and you probably think they from another nation or something. You know, some of them, hey, they could even look like Esau, but it can be our people. All right, by way of the Father. OK. But we have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. But yeah, the prophecy was that we would eat the foul food amongst these nations. OK, but the more and more we are beginning to wake up and understand things, you got brothers, then, you know, the Heavenly Father has blessed them with that wisdom, knowledge, and that understanding. And you're going to start to realize not only are we under our enemies, but you think your enemies are wanting to you know, they love you that much to where they want to give you good food. OK, pretty much everything we eat is defiled. All right. It's defiled. But like I said, we try our best to try to examine things and just like, especially when you know damn well something it has all kinds of, you know, it's pumped with all type of chemicals and stuff that's harmful to your body. And yet you decide to consume it, you know. So at least trying to, you know, read labels and do right. OK, look at it's got this in it and this in it. You know, I'm going to leave that alone. You know, put that right back on the shelf, you know, so, you know, just try your best, because at the end of the day, the Heavenly Father is going to have mercy on us and get us up out of here, because, hey, these bodies ain't coming. All right. They're not going into the kingdom. That's why we're going to get those new bodies. OK, but at the end of the day, you still want to, you know, not just be out here just freestyling it, you know, eating whatever. That's why it says this, a cheerful and good heart will have care of his meat and diet. All right, which leads me to the first article, which I got quite a few of them for this lesson. And it's going to jump. You know, we're going to go from talking to food to also talking about exercise. And I know that's usually a touchy subject, because I'm going to say, man, almost I want to say anywhere from 85 to about 90% of Jake and his truth are, you know, they probably work out. They go to the gym, even sisters. You got sisters, you know. All right. They work out, whether they go to the gym, you know, some might have a setup, you know, in their homes, you know, or whatever, or they have a place they can go, you know, that, you know, not really having to go to like a Planet Fitness or nothing like that. But, you know, I definitely want to get into that as well with this lesson. But it's a very touchy subject, because you know, when you go into it, Jake might be thinking, you know, well, I work out. And then, you know, here it is, you doing a lesson, you know, uh, which they might think that you're condemning it, which in a way I am to a certain degree. All right. Now we know that, hey, Jake, like I said, Jake work out. There's nothing wrong with working out, but just being mindful of it. So I want to go into the history of that and where it comes from, and then look at all the bug out stuff that usually happens in these gyms, man. Okay, so I got some articles, and this is gonna make you know show you more and more. You know, me personally, I don't go to the gym. I don't deal with it. Now, do I do like certain exercises and stuff? Yes. You know, I do like just the regular things. I'm not into the whole. I ain't gotta lift weights. I'm not trying to be what's that? Some of y'all might not be into wrestling, but they had a guy named Big Papa Pump, which his name was Scott Steiner. You know, I came up watching him, back when they were the Steiner brothers, but after that, he was always big, but he got real big. And I mean, like when he flexed his arm, his muscles, man, they look like mountains on his arms. He's a big dude, man, but he called himself Big Papa Pump. So I'm like, man, I'm not trying to work out and look like that. I ain't trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or nothing, but it's good to take care of your body, man, for real. Okay. Which we'll get to that part. But anyways, let's get back to this food part. Since I'm in Indiana, this article popped up on the 25th, and I was just seeing it. But it says Indiana to ban buying sugary drinks, candy with SNAP benefits, and I'm sure there's going to be other things too. A lot of this junk food, which when they get these food stamps and stuff, first thing they want to do, that's what they go buy. You go into their houses, they'll open up their pantries and like look, and then they have the whole works, honey buns, zebra cakes, oatmeal pies, all type of chips and stuff. But then when you start to really read the back on them stuff, it says contain bioengineered ingredients on all that stuff. But that's the stuff Jake be eating. So I'm thinking, and then next thing you know, Jake is all sick all the time, and Jake start getting all these. Oh man, pray for me, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Doctors ain't got no answer. Pray for me. And they just start getting sick. And it's the stuff that you eating, man. Esau, man, he's putting all this stuff in the food on purpose. The earth is not even yielding her strength unto him. So, and you putting your trust and stock in him with the food. That, of course, yeah, we all are, because technically we go to the grocery store and we be hoping, what we getting is legit. Man, I bought some bananas, a few weeks back. I talked about it in one of my lessons, and I said, man, they really didn't have no type of taste at whatsoever, man. It was just real bland. And I was like, man, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, this place is hell. That's why I was like, man, we got to get out of here. All right. But it says changes are coming to how Indiana residents can use their SNAP benefits starting in the new year. And it says starting January 1st. And hey, that's right around the corner. It's going to pop up. It says starting January 1st, those who use SNAP benefits will not be able to purchase sugary drinks or candy with the funds. And that's all I'm going to read on this, but just showing you, they're trying to stop all this, but all that stuff anyways ain't really good for you at all. So I want to pull up, give me a second, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. I want to pull up this information and show you what that stuff can do to your body. And it says sugary drinks significantly increase the risk of liver disease, particularly non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It says by causing fat buildup in the liver, leading to inflammation, fibrosis, all right, cirrhosis, if I'm saying that word right, or cirrhosis, all right, and it says, and even liver cancer, with studies showing daily consumption raises risk substantially, though recent research also point to diet sodas and artificial sweeteners posing threats. Yeah, because you might get them diet sodas. They say those are just as bad, if not worse. Okay, posing threats. It says making water the best choice for liver health, and a lot of people, they refrain from water. I mean, I was looking at this one guy at work when he first came in, which he was homeless, and he came in, but now he's getting these little paychecks, and I'm talking about, man, this dude, he's like a glutton, man. The way he be eating. But he comes in and he's first thing in the morning, man. He got one of them big bottles of soda, man. And he just be gulping them things down, man. He drank that stuff like it's water. All right. And he done put on a whole lot of weight now, because everybody was like, man, he done swelled up. He swelled up real quick, because when he came in, he was little, But yeah, he be stuffing his face, man. He come in there, he don't do it as much as now, but when he first came in, man, I'm talking about, man, it was early in the morning, and man, it looked like he had a whole banquet at a station. And he was just eating. I'm like, goodness, it's early. Like man, the birds ain't even, the roosters ain't up yet. And because we worked there. I mean, I worked that early shift. But I mean, the roosters ain't even up, and this dude is already stuffing his face like that. The only thing I would probably do is like I get my coffee, or if I substitute it with tea, which I've been doing tea a lot more than coffee as of late. But just seeing that, and I'm like, and I wait a little bit till about maybe our first break, then I might grab a little something. But it's usually I just kind of snack on something. I'll eat lunch, but even with that, lunch is light. I eat very light. I've been trying to I don't, eat big old meals and stuff like that. But yeah, showing you what these sugary drinks and stuff do, man. This stuff is no good. All right. And that's why we should really, truly refrain from that. I'm telling you, before I was even in this truth, I used to drink a lot of soda like that. I'm going to tell you, Big Red is real bad. All of them are bad, but Big Red is real bad. And also Mountain Dew, man. That Mountain Dew fuck your stomach up. Like I had a homie, man. He was drinking that stuff, man, which I used to do it too. I was drinking it by the 2 liter, I was like, forget a can or one of the small bottles. I had the 2 liter, and I was just drinking that thing like it was water, But he was. I had a homie of mine at that time. He was doing the same thing, and man, he had to have a surgery. Like he almost died and everything. He had to have that surgery, and if he didn't have that surgery, he wouldn't have made it. Like that stuff was fucking him up. So he started to leave that alone. I don't know, what he doing now, because we don't talk no more. But he was a friend of mine in my music days, because he did music too. But yeah, you most definitely want to. Plus, the sugar that they be putting in the stuff, it's not the real deal sugar. That's that bleach stuff, which is not good for you. The best sugar is cane sugar. Cane sugar is supposed to be like a brownish tint to it. All right, almost like the brown sugar. But it's cane sugar. Which they don't, and they're trying to go back to putting that in the sodas now. But hey, it's too late, man. It's too late. This place is done for. But anyways, this is the book of Sirach 30, starting at verse 15. It says, health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. All right. Verse 16, it says, there is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. Okay, so it's very important to take care of your body. A lot of times brothers like to bring this out regarding like the exercise and stuff, but also this can really go into, eating healthy. Okay. So you definitely want to be mindful of that. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons why. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 3, reading verse 16. And it says, know ye not that you are the temple of Yahweh, and that the spirit of Yahweh dwelleth in you. Okay, if any man defile the temple of Yahweh, him shall Yahweh destroy, for the temple of Yahweh is holy. Okay, which temple ye are. You are the temple of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Okay, so you want to try to take care of your body instead of, don't be that guy that's out here just being a drunkard, or doing all kind of drugs, doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing and hurting your body, damaging your body, smoke. You shouldn't be in this truth smoking cigarettes and all that stuff, or eating defiled foods, eating pork and seafood and stuff. You want to be mindful about what you're consuming in your body, because you are the temple of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, now again, yeah, we are in the land of our captivity. We are, the prophecy was that we will eat defiled food. Okay, there's no escaping that. Even when you so-called grow your own food, because that's the one thing Jake and them like to talk about, grow your own food. But the very soil that we're planting our stuff in is defiled. Okay, the rain that you depend on. You say, oh well, I don't depend on the rain. I could just, I use my water hose and stuff. Well, hey, that water's defiled. All of it is. They got forever chemicals in our tap water. Okay. But the very water that comes down from above, they spray that stuff in the sky. And what the saying is, what goes up must come down. So your food is being grown by tainted water. Esau know what he's doing. He's the devil. He thought this out, man. This dude is the cunning hunter. Very cunning, very smart. All right. He's a damn devil. All right, but he ain't smarter than us, man. He ain't smarter than the men of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. We know this man's tactics, and that's why we're exposing it. Okay, but again, it says, if any man defile the temple of Yahweh, him shall Yahweh destroy, for the temple of Yahweh is holy, which temple ye are. Okay. All right, so I'm on this Instagram page, Fitness for All, and it says she got herpes at the gym, all right, from not wearing a towel. Okay, which, you know, a lot of times, hey, you don't know about these other people that go in there, that be on these seats, these benches and stuff. People be they're not taking care of themselves. They might have some type of disease or anything. So that's another thing to think about when you go into these gyms and stuff. It says this girl, she got herpes at the gym from not wearing a towel. But it says an 18-year-old girl got herpes type 1 at the gym because she didn't use a towel on the machine or clean them before using them. You see that? It wasn't for a kiss or for intimate contact or anything that people usually imagine. It was for something as basic as having contact with someone else's sweat in a machine that he did not clean before using. All right, he says, I want you to understand this. In gyms, all right, we share sweat, skin, microscopic fluids, and hot surfaces where viruses and bacteria survive longer than you imagine. See this? As a paramedic, I'm telling you, I have seen cases of herpes, fungi, athlete's foot, warts, all right, I don't know what that word is, scabies, and even cases of hepatitis A from contact with contaminated surfaces. You see this? So it says it's not to scare you, it's to take care of you. Always use a towel, clean the machines. All right, don't sit on benches with nothing underneath. All right, she wears flip-flops in the shower. And when you're done, wash your hands before touching your face or eyes. She is already undergoing treatment, but it could have been avoided with such simple details, all right, as carrying a towel in her backpack. Sometimes in the gym, you take care of the weights, but not of what you don't see. Absolutely. Okay. But you see that? See, you're the temple of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh, which what I want to go into now, switching over, is going into the whole gym thing. Because really, you know, the whole gym thing is really a custom of the heathens anyways. It goes back to them, which I want to bring that information out. And this is for those that may be new. Those that usually tune into the videos, I'm sure they've already watched some of my videos in the past regarding the gym. But, you know, this is something that needs to continue to be brought out. All right. So we got to bring it out. All right. But yeah, that's crazy situation right there. And that shows you but that not just the gym, just anywhere. Like if you dealing with something, you might want to make sure you wipe it down before, you end up using it. Okay. This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 8. And it says, for bodily exercise profiteth little, but godliness is profitable unto all things, having the promise of life that now is and of that which is to come. Okay, so basically what it's saying is that, bodily exercise, it's okay to work out, but it profiteth little. All right. And, it says unto all things, but it says having the promise of life that now is and of that which is to come. All right. So it profiteth something, but it profiteth little. All right. So at the end of the day, we know a lot of brothers, and I'm not just saying this because brothers do it, because if it was like we shouldn't be doing it, I'd be like, hey, man, you shouldn't be doing that. We can't trim our ways to seek love. But at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, there are brothers that work out. There's nothing wrong with actually exercising, take care of your body. But understanding this custom right here, truly it's a origin, where it come from, which is of the other nations. It's not our custom. All right. But again, it says for bodily exercise profiteth little. Okay. It's plain as day. It says, but godliness is profitable unto all things, having the promise, all right, of life that now is and of that which is to come. All right. All praises. Now, I want to go into this information right here just to show you, because the custom of it goes back to the Greeks. All right. The Grecians. All right. Which we know that to be the Edomites. All right. They were your Grecians. OK, they wasn't the original people. The original people were a melanated people. OK, which are your Japhetic people. They go back to Japheth, which Japheth is one of the three sons of Noah. Noah had Ham, Shem, which that's who we stem out of. We come out of the son known as Shem. That's why you have that word that they say Semitic, but it's really Shemitic. All right. There's a lot of Shemitic nations of people that come out of Shem. All right. And then you have Japheth. OK, so Ham, Shem, and Japheth. All right. But the true Grecians, all right, they are a Japhetic people. All right, which they are a melanated people. They still are. All right, but a lot of them got pushed out into what you call now the Polynesian Islands. Those people. All right. Your what is it? Your Samoans, your Tongans, Hawaiians, all them. Those are your Japhetic people. Okay, a lot of those different islands out there. All right, and so forth. But the Greek word, it goes this word gymnos. Okay. And it says primarily means naked. Look at this, bare or without clothing. Gymnos. Okay, so you heard gym. It says, and it's the root for words like gymnasium. Okay, referencing how ancient athletes train nude. So see, they would train and work out, all right, in these gyms, and they worked out nude. It says it also carries metaphorical meaning of being uncovered, exposed, or even poorly clad, indicating a lack of proper covering. Okay, and we know, hey, for us, we're not like all these other nations. Okay, even like your Hamitic nations or Hamites, some of those tribes, they be running around. I ain't gonna say they butthole naked, but they damn near naked. You know, they ain't fully clothed. But us, we were a different people. We're a holy people, so we're supposed to be covered. Even the men, we get on the women, talking about the women, you should be showing all this, cleavage and all this. Well, Jake shouldn't be running around, you know, shirtless and all that, you know, but you have that, okay? I've seen that over the years, you know, and a lot of stuff used to go unchecked. But then I remember some elders, and I was happy that it happened because these guys was going around, call themselves rebuking everything, but they was pushing that gym thing real heavy, you know, but one of the things about it was one individual, which I don't know this guy personally, but it was brought to my attention about him because he was called himself rebuking some other brother. But the brother brought it out and said, man, he was calling himself, being a bearing false witness on me, on his brother. Just, you know, he didn't do it to me. I don't know this guy, but, you know, he was telling me his testimony. But he said that the guy was posting shirtless images of himself from the gym. Okay, which we know in the Bible says in the end time people will become lovers of themselves, always looking in that mirror. You know, which because you want to look at the results and stuff, but they become lovers of themselves. They, you know, I gotta look good, you know, for this, for that, you know, and but which all that, like I said, it profiteth little. All right, and you know, to get those type of bodies, you got to put a lot of work in that. You know, so you must have a lot of time on your hands. You know, for me, as much as, you know, doing the work of the Lord, having to, you know, balance that with a 9 to 5, plus being, you know, a eunuch in this thing, I have a lot of duties that I have to do. You know, I don't have the rib for that. You know, like I said, I got to do my own laundry. I got to do my grocery shopping, bills. I got to clean my place up, you know, all that. OK, I got to do all those things, you know, which I still got to do laundry. You know, I got clothes I got to wash, bed sheets I got to wash. You know, and that's a heck of a job there. You know, a lot of people, it's not something that's just cake. You just throw it in there and it's done. No. Because here we don't have washer and dryer hookup. You know, so it's we have a laundromat on the facility, on the premises, I should say. But it's only one washer, one dryer for 30 apartments. So you got to wait on that. And then on top of that, when you're in there, I tend to sit and watch my stuff because I've had stuff come up missing. And hey, that's crazy. And there's cameras in there, but people seem to say they don't see nothing. But I'm like, I brought all my stuff down there and I got stuff missing. That's crazy. Like somebody actually one time took my pillowcases. I was like who does that? You know? But you know, stuff be happening like that, man. But anyways, going back to this. All right. Again, the Greek word gymnos, okay, primarily means naked, bare, or without clothing, and it's the root for words like gymnasium, you know, which if you take the nasium off, you got what? Gym. Okay, you see gymnos, gymnasium, gym. I'm going to the gym. All right. Reference how ancient athletes train nude. It also carries metaphorical meanings of being uncovered, exposed, or even poorly clad, indicating a lack of proper covering. Okay. And that can put like a sodomite spirit, because I'm gonna tell you, a lot of sodomites work out. Now, I'm not saying that, because Jake working out, you're a sodomite or something. No, I don't put words in my mouth. I ain't saying that. But a lot of them do be working out, man. They be in it, and then they in there working out. It could be a sodomite in there looking at you, lusting after you. You ain't got no clue. It's a weird spirit that be in that place, man. But it goes back to like nakedness and nude. Like I said, they will work out nude. Okay, which I got another article I want to bring out to show you this how true this stuff is manifesting. You're seeing this in real time play out. All right, y'all. So, hey, here you go. You see, you can't make this up. This is from the page Greatest Reactions on Instagram. But this showing you, man, hey, man, the Bible is cold, man. This is the most powerful book in the world, man. Okay. But and everything, it's showing you, man, hey, how everything's lining up. But it says naked man arrested at Planet Fitness tells police he thought gym was a judgment-free zone. He was in there working out naked, man. But you know what? That's how they did it back then. Okay, so he's back at his lot. I guarantee you, man, he probably was one of them doing it back in the ancient days. But hey, this was back in December 10th. And I was holding on to this one for a minute. I was like, I've been wanting to get into this lesson because different articles were popping up. But it felt like this was now the right time. Because I wanted to do this one before I went on my highways. But it was starting to get late. And I needed to work on that, and get that together. But here we are, so everything's all on the timing of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the spirit, sometimes, and I was watching a brother yesterday, how he was talking about he was going to go into one lesson, but the spirit and you could tell, man, because he was approached by a brother, he said some stuff and it stood out, and that man could have been an angel. You never know. But it was just what the man said, how he said it, and I could see how the brother was feeling, and it's like the spirit was working with him, like, and something in me was when that transpired, I knew like that brother was gonna say something to the degree of, he was gonna go into that topic, but also he had something else in mind. But see, the spirit was working, like, okay, yeah, you might want to go into that lesson, and you could still go into it eventually, but you're gonna go into this one next. Okay, which there's a lot that I need to go into. There's a lot that's popped up and stuff, but I did want to go into this through the spirit, at least kick it off for the day. But let's get into this. All right. But it says a Massachusetts man pushed the limits of the judgment-free zone slogan when he was arrested for stripping naked and attempting to work out at a Planet Fitness in Plaistow, New Hampshire. Eric Stagno, 34, allegedly Salakia, y'all. I know I'm laughing because this is funny, man, but it isn't, but it is. But it says allegedly walked into a crowded gym, left his clothes at the front desk, and settled onto the yoga mat in a nude yoga type pose. That's crazy. When confronted by police, Stagno claimed he believed the gym's advertised motto permitted him to exercise without clothing. Despite his explanation, Stagno was arrested without incident and charged with indecent exposure, lewdness, and disorderly conduct, as witnesses reported feeling disgusted and unsafe by his actions. So you see that? You see, which, like I said, truly, technically, because he's a heathen and that was part of that custom, he was in his right to do that. But the times have changed, man. Okay, and that's not our custom. But he would have been in his right if this was back in the day. Hey, he wouldn't have been arrested for that. But it's still crazy to think, like, look, man, somebody working out naked. Come on now, So, but here it is, and I'm showing you, like, that's what the gym goes back to, man, and it's a certain spirit. All right. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, reading verse 16. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for a morsel of meat sold his birthright. Man, hey, the spirit ain't right in Esau Edom, man. These Edomites are crazy, man. And this is not a new thing under the sun, man. Like I said, they worked out naked and stuff, but I'm gonna take it even a step further and show you some more stuff, because, like I said, the gym goes back to the Greek customs. All right. Well, let's go ahead and pull this up real quick, okay? And look at this. This when you talk about Greece, and I hate that I have to show you these things, Salakia, but at the end of the day, look, showing off their bodies, look, nude, naked, and stuff. Like, they actually got statues of this, man. Okay, Greek sculptures and stuff. These are graven images because these are sculptures and sculpted and all that. But I'm just showing y'all this real quick, man. But like I said, this is, look at this, man. Dude's got us showing his ass and stuff. This is that type of spirit, man. And then when Jake be working out, Jake want to post them type of pictures. And then what kind of message was that show being a man of the Lord? Okay. You know, you're supposed to be the light of the world. You're supposed to be representing Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And, you know, no other man want to see your chest all exposed and poked out on your Instagram. You know, if anything, I want to see some truth. But if you feel like you ain't got to push the truth on there, well, then, you know, that's when I can hit that unfollow button. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's crazy. But, you know, that kind of spirit has been getting rebuked a lot, too, because a lot of guys thought it was OK and cool. You know, how is it that that's OK, but you was condemning brothers, talking about, you know, you was getting on brothers because they was pushing the truth on social media, talking about the truth don't have to go out on that. This is what guys was doing to me. They told me talking about it's supposed to be on the YouTube. And I'm like, okay, I agree with that. Yes, YouTube. But if you on any of these platforms, you know, you should be trying to push the truth, you know, on all of them. OK, you know, whatever, you know, if anything, I don't want to go to your page for that. So, I mean, if you feel that way, that's fine. I agree to disagree on that matter. You know, I feel like the truth should be put on all the different platforms if you're going to be on those platforms. Other than that, what are you on there for? Okay. You know, especially being a man of the Lord. Okay. But nobody wants to see that. But this is the type of spirit that will push. All right. And it got and that got addressed, man, when some elders was actually speaking on it. And it was beautiful, you know, because I knew in my spirit it was off, you know. And they started to talk about it like, man, you don't need to be doing all that. And it got rebuked. OK, like it's nothing wrong with working out and stuff, but it can lead to this. Like I said, it's a spirit on it because it's not our custom anyways. All right. And I want to go here. This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 14, starting with verse 14, because our people have always, you know, and that spirit is back. OK, a lot of our people were fascinated with these other cultures because we were under them. All right. Whether we were in these different captivities and stuff, you know, so, you know, just like, you know, the Egyptians want to be Egyptian, Roman, Greek, whatever, you know. But and the scriptures prove that. All right. But this is, again, 2 Maccabees 4, starting with verse 14. It says that the priests, all right, had no courage to serve anymore at the altar. See that? But despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, okay, hasten to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise. Look at this. And after the game of discus, all right, called them forth. Okay, so you see, and to me, it was like, you know, guys stopped pushing the truth on those platforms and they went straight to the whole exercise thing. And it's crazy because when that happened, your mind start thinking about this right here. But it says not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. OK. All right. And that's crazy. Because not everybody is on your YouTube. Now, I ain't saying that you don't push the truth on, continue pushing on the YouTube. And it's the more the merrier. You know, that's one of them sayings, the more the merrier. All right. Like I said, I ended up hearing the truth on Facebook. OK, I wasn't on all the other platforms like that. Now, I did have my Instagram. You know, but, you know, I wasn't on YouTube like that. I didn't get on there looking up stuff and being on there, you know, unless somebody was like, hey, man, you heard about this trailer or something. You know, I like movies back then. I would go to the movie theater, you know, hang out with my friends. We'd go to the movie theater. So we might hear about a good movie or something come out and we go to the movie theater, hang out, whatever. You know, I've always been one of them simple people. I don't go do the most, you know, it's something like that, you know, and, you know, watch a movie. So I might look up a trailer or something on it, but I don't be like die hard. I'm sitting on YouTube all day, you know. And if you know anything about YouTube, shit, it drains your phone, like your data, especially if you be trying to watch your data with your phone, you know, hey, it drains it. The more you're on there and the more you're on there watching all kind of videos and stuff, it drains your phone. So it was like, man, so I never really was on there like that. But, you know, being into this truth, now you get more acquainted with YouTube and how it works. And, you know, I had to learn all that, even when I started doing the videos, because I didn't know how it worked, how you upload stuff and all that. But, you know, hey, through Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the Holy Spirit, a few diligent brothers, you learn the basics and stuff like that. And here we are to this day, man. Okay. But again, it says not sitting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. Okay. And that's the type of spirit, man, it could bring. All right. Now, this is the final article. All right. And then I'll get some more precepts and then close it out. And I pray this has been an edifying lesson, too. OK, but this showing you like, you can get too caught up in that because, hey, that gym stuff, hey, you can put a lot of work into it. There's, like I said, there's nothing wrong. I ain't condemning brothers. Nobody be trying to twist my words because I work out. All right. Now, I don't go to gym, but I do work out. I do stuff, sometimes I even walk down to my highways and hedges. And that's a walk. That's a hell of a walk to go down to where I do my highways and hedges. All right. But I do that to get exercise, to loosen up. So, there's all kind of, ways to get your exercise, walking, jogging, push-ups, sit-ups, there's different type of things, you can do taking care of your body. Now, some might be wanting to go into the whole lifting the weights and stuff. All right. But we ain't trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or nothing out here. All right. But this is another article we have. And it's like a Chinese bodybuilder, Wang Kun, all right, has passed away at the age of 30. See, that's young. All right. To reported heart problems. OK. And I had an uncle that was working out. He was actually a professional wrestler and he was working out. And he was healthy. You didn't think nothing wrong, but he died of a heart attack. Okay. He ended up having heart issues and died of a heart attack. Okay. Like this guy. But it says a dominant force in the sport. He won 8 consecutive national titles in China. Kun once revealed he lived a strict monk's life for nearly a decade to sculpt his championship physique. Okay. So you see, this could be some of the end results when you put more into that and not Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Okay, because a lot of that, like I said, and there's brothers that they might go to the gym. It's not even about trying to get a fit, a strong body, like big muscles and stuff, but they just want to release some steam, because this place is stressing the hell out of Jake. Like I said, I went to a place where, pretty much it's technically like a bar, but, I was going there because they serve good food. They have it's a food truck that serves food. And I really was getting me some food and just get out. I wasn't in there for no crazy purposes or nothing. I ain't in there trying to look for love or nothing. Because, this whole place is hell, man. Okay. Hell, you can go to an actual restaurant and they have like a bar set up in there. So, just don't be a drunk, man. You can have a drink or two. If you know your limits, just don't go and do crazy stuff. All right. But I was getting some food. But you just got to be very, very mindful of these things. Okay. Don't put too much into that and not focus on Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, because you can end up like this guy, Wang Kun, man. You see how big he is, and now he's no longer here. Okay. So with that being said, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, starting at verse 2. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." Okay, so it says, learn not the way of the heathen. Verse 3, it says, "For the customs of the people are vain." Okay. All right. It says, "For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe." And we know that reading on, this is going into talking about Christmas, which it goes back to a pagan tradition known as Saturnalia. All right. It's very wicked. All right. Nothing of the Heavenly Father. All right. All these customs are vain. Okay. So you see that? Learn not the way of the heathen, man. All right. Now, this is what the Heavenly Father requires of you here. And I'll go ahead and close it out with this. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12. Starting at verse 13, and it says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter." So this is the conclusion of the whole matter, everything, all right? It says, "Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments." If you fear Yahweh Shem Shai, you will keep his commandments, all right? And it says, "For this is the whole duty of man." So you see that, all right? Verse 14 says, "For Yahweh shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." Call Allah Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. And shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. And to the next one. Shalom.